Hey.
Thank you, Tom.
How's
Thanks
it
for having
going?
me. Really good.
Nice. Welcome to Canada. When did you just get in?
I just got in at 5 this morning, and I haven't been here in a while. I was here, gosh, I think it's like well over 10 years ago.
No way.
I mean, it's been a long time.
It's changed a lot since then. Yeah.
But I love it over here.
What makes you want to do the kind of work you're doing while you're here?
Well, I'm in this thing where, I've been in the business for a while, and it's been really good to me. It's been exciting. It's been up. It's been down. It's been everything that everybody can imagine the music business is. And then, I don't know, I've always been very vocal about talking and trying to give people information because it's just my nature to want to try to evolve people's emotions in the process of creating. And so in order to do that, you have to communicate. You have to give information. You have to, be vulnerable yourself. So anyways, about 2.5 years ago, I decided, I think people need some information, like severely right now. And especially girls. I feel like we need to support women more in not just being pop stars, but, being behind the scenes, being producers, engineers, mastering engineers, managers, CEOs. And so I decided to start saying yes to everything, and I do a lot of panels. I've been all over the world, actually, in the past year, doing panels and talking to kids. So I'm excited about it.
I'm excited you're here. So you're here to mentor producers, songwriters. Tomorrow you're going to be going into the studio to teach master classes with 5 female Canadian songwriters and producers. So can we just break it down at this level? Like, what is a producer's number one job in your opinion?
I feel a producer is a director, You're the one that has to help. So the writer is kind of like the screenplay, like the person who comes up with the story, right? Or the artist. So it's your job to help fulfill their vision. And you have to put the characters, the cast together. You have to make sure everybody stays focused. You need to know when to switch the story and edit to make a really solid foundation. So I believe, for me, I'm thinking more old school because that's what, the greatest producers used to do. They used to really make great albums. And in order to make those albums, you have to stay focused and you have to make your artists feel safe, protected, developing them, nurturing them, helping them go from here to there. And I think that that's an art that's kind of missing right now. It's an art that's missing in songwriting. It's an art that's missing in artists, and it's an art that's missing in managers, labels, the art of development. So what's the number one thing people are getting wrong in production these days? To me, the number one thing is chasing someone else's vision. When producers and so say you and I get together. So you're going to, hey, Linda, I'm really so glad to meet you. I want to write these great songs.
Yeah, I play the banjo. We can make this happen. Let's do it. Yeah, right.
Okay, Tom, well, let's go listen to the radio and find out what all the hits are, and let's listen to what people are wanting to hear right now. And let's go pull up all the main Spotify playlists and the Apple playlists, and let's see what Zane Lowe is putting out there. And okay, this is what's hip. Okay, let's do it. Okay, Tom, let's go. So that's
trying to chase getting a hit, or
that's what I think is going wrong right now. And instead of people just fulfilling their own destiny, they're riding the coattails of other people's, and that is a severe problem because it's already being done. It's already done. You can buy that album. And so why are we chasing it? So I think that's why it sounds exactly the same all the time. Tempos, subject matter, structures, sonic. No one is being risky right now. So as a producer, the number one thing I see that's happening that is a no-no is producers just being safe and just copying other things.
You know, I think about that. I think about, we talk so much on the show about, you know, an artist need to take risks, right? And not be afraid to fail. But then I also think that, like, there's never been a time...
Wait, Tom, where'd you go last night? Because you have a stamp on your hand.
Danforth Music Hall. I went to see Josh Ritter.
Oh.
He's a good songwriter.
Great.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Nice show, too.
Right.
And an individualistic kind of dude.
Yeah.
But here's what I'm thinking is that, you know, when you fail, it can take your career down. I mean, you can never recover from it. So, you know, you can kind of understand that artists are sometimes willing to take the safe path. Or, I guess, you know, when you say you're afraid to fail, failing is actually kind of horrible. It can be awful. It can be life-destroying, you know?
Well, it depends if you're failing at what you love. I mean, to me, failing at, you know, first of all, there is no failure when you're doing what you want to do. And that is more forgiving. But when you fail, so to say, I don't like using the word.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I don't believe in failure. I believe in, you know, it's incredible opportunities to evolve into something better. But when we don't have the success based on copying somebody, that ruins your career. But if you aren't having success by just being who you are and remaining credible and your intention is good and your integrity, that doesn't ruin your career. Mm-hmm. It just... You know, if you do it a few times, you're just cool.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You become cool and credible for, oh, God, I like that Tom. He's always doing it his way, that guy. Yeah. And, oh, I love him. He's great.
Yeah, no, even if he's not selling 1,000 records.
Yeah, I mean,
by the way, that's the barrier in 2019, by the way.
Jesus Christ. You know, somebody said something to me yesterday. And I started to get upset by it, but then I didn't, because I was saying how this particular person, I found this guy, he does syncs, right?
Syncs?
Yeah, he doesn't, but the songs sound like syncs. They sound like commercials, you know, like...
Syncs being like...
licensed.
Okay, right.
You know,
songs
like
that get licensing commercials and stuff like that, right?
But everything he played me, I thought was genius, you know? And so I play it to this guy, and he's like... And I said, I think this guy's genius. And he's like, well, genius is, you know, when you can, you know, captivate, you know, the whole world and get everybody singing your songs and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you know, that's not genius. I know many geniuses that are homeless. You know, there's a lot of people that will never be heard. But that's the key right there. What is success to you? Is success being getting... validation, acceptance, or is success being able to express and be exactly who you want to be and be okay with that? Like,
so, I mean, that's starting to make sense to me now, because I know you're kind of selective about who you work with too, with who you produce. And I know you kind of want to talk to them, you want to get along with them. I also know that there's probably been times that, you know, you met somebody and, oh, you know, this probably isn't going to work. I'm probably not going to make your record, you know, because just personality-wise, or maybe it's because of the way they're driven or what they want. Like, what are you looking for when you're looking to work with somebody?
You know, I am picky. That's true. The thing is, I have a lot of great intention. My intention is I want a lot. I want a lot of success. I want both. I want the material success, and I want the credibility and just feeling good about what I do success. So in order to achieve what I want, I have to really think about what I'm doing, because if I would have left, honestly, if I didn't leave Four Non Blondes when I did, I believe my credibility would have went down the tube. But I left at just the right moment where people couldn't really call me a one-hit wonder, because we were making a second record and we were just about to do it. So the industry knows that I left a very successful situation.
Yeah.
And then, you know, instead of trying to make this pop record and call it Four Non Blondes like Jimmy Iovine wanted me to do.
Was the label head at the time, yeah.
Yeah, you know, I didn't. I did an album that sounded, you know, to me, I was trying to emulate Dark Side of the Moon, you know. I mean, I was so in love with that album, the feeling that it gave me. I wanted to do my version of that, you know, and so I made this record In Flight, and Interscope just shelved it, you know.
Yeah.
But I was so happy that I made that album. It's so gorgeous and beautiful, and I've listened to that record so many times, and I've probably listened to the Four Non Blonde record maybe 7 times.
Right.
Serious.
Yeah.
So all my choices have been leading me up to this ultimate goal, and the ultimate goal is one day I want to be like 86 years old, and I'm going to get this massive Lifetime Achievement Award for all the wonderful things that I did, you know, in the music business, and all the artists that I mentored or helped, and that to me is my ultimate goal. But if I'm not going to get there if I do a bunch of cheesy, uncredible pop songs that don't represent who I am.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not snobby. I just have my dream. I know what I want to do. And if I go over here, then I'm changing the movie.
Yeah.
I see my movie. I'm really happy with it. You know? That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to complete my movie.
I can see that, Linda, I can see then why you and Dolly Parton get along so long. Because I think what you're describing, I mean, I don't know how old Dolly is, but like, you know, aging into your later years of your life, still making really vital music, doing everything you want to do, but still having massive success. I understand why because you and Dolly get along pretty well,
I love Dolly. Dolly, like, with someone's like, tell me what your ideal situation would be. Like, where do you want to end up? I want to end up like Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
She is amazing. Like, she has so much energy. She has taught me so much because she really lifts people. Like, Dolly does not, there's nothing negative coming from her at all. And everything is very about lifting everybody in the room, not just the famous people, you know, everybody. The guy that comes in to change, you know, the trash, she'll lift him up, you know, and it's extremely inspiring. She's operating on a frequency that is far above most people, very high frequency. And we get along awesome because our work ethic is incredible, and we write well together. I mean, we wrote 6 songs in 2 days. 6 songs in 2 days.
Can we listen to one of them? Take a listen to this.
Yeah.
I wanna be the girl in the movies, the one with the glint in her eyes, the girl that seldom loses, beautiful with grace and style, acting out her story, standing in her glory, happy ever after. I wanna be the girl in the movies.
That's Girl in the Movies, a song written by Dolly Parton and Linda Perry, who's my guest. And while we were playing that, Linda looked at me and said, I got to tell you a story about writing with her.
Yeah, well, working with her, so, you know, I work with a lot of people, right? And I barely can get these kids to sing a whole song in one day. Okay?
What do you mean?
Yeah, I know. So I've had situations, I'm not kidding, they can't get through even a whole song. It's like to sing one song and get the vocal.
Yeah.
It's been like sometimes up to 3 days. No kidding.
Just trying to get a vocal track.
Just trying to get a vocal.
Yeah.
And so Dolly, so I do all the tracks in LA, because the deal was I was not going to work with, although I love Nashville, but I didn't want that Nashville artists or musicians, you know, that sound. So I recorded everything at my house or my studio, and I put the band together, and I took band members, you know, from different bands. Anyway, so now Dolly's supposed to come and sing. I see her, and we have our songs, and so she comes in. Dolly sings 6 songs in one day.
Oh my God.
that being one of them,
Yeah.
Girl in the Movies, Red Shoes. I mean, very complex songs. She just comes in and in one day
Yeah.
sings all 6 songs that we wrote. And I'm like going, holy, you know, like, what the hell? And all great, like all keepers, like, you know, not a flaw. And then she'll stop and go, oh, I can do that better. And you tell me what you think, but I feel like I can do that better. I'm like, you did it great like 5 takes ago.
Yeah.
It was amazing. So the work ethic today is very alarming to me because, you know, I don't see the kids putting in the time and the focus that needs to happen in their careers.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and when you got someone 76 years old, kids, Dolly Parton is, and when she's blowing through 6 songs in one day, I would step it up, man. I would
Yeah.
step it up severely.
I want to take a listen to this because this is something else you did with Dolly Parton that I couldn't believe you did. I'm happy you did it, don't get me wrong, but I could see it being sort of a risky thing. I could see it being like being worried you'd paint a mustache in the Mona Lisa or something
Oh.
like that. Just take a listen to this.
Jolene, 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 I'm begging of you, please don't take my man.
So that's the original version of
Yeah.
Jolene.
I was like, wait a minute, I didn't do that one.
Yeah, I know. That's the original version of Jolene. This is your version of it.
Jolene, 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 please don't take him just because you can. Your beauty is beyond compare, flaming locks of auburn hair, ivory skin and eyes of emerald green.
Man, this song is already so sad, you know. That's Jolene by Dolly Parton, kind of reproduced by Linda Perry, who's my guest. Linda, like, you did something really different with that one.
I love that. You know why I love that version? Not because I think it's absolutely brilliant, but so when they wanted to put Jolene on the album, there was like a remix. And they wanted to put that one on the album. Like, you're not putting that bad remix on my perfect album. It's not going to happen. And then I was like,
a remix, like a club remix or something?
Yeah, that was in the movie. They wanted to use it, you know, on the soundtrack. And
Right.
I'm like, it's not going to happen.
One of those strobe light scenes where
Exactly.
yeah, right, I understand. Yeah.
So I said, hold up, wait. And then I just went, and I made a phone call, and I called my string guy, and I'm like, I need you to do a 16-piece version of Jolene right now. And so I go meet with him, and, you know, we dial it in, and then I tell Dolly, okay, how about we do Jolene, and we do it, you know, all strings, you know, like Eleanor Rigby, right? And she's like, oh, okay, I can do that. All right, that sounds interesting.
She was into it?
Yeah, she's always, you know, like always open-minded. And so we go. So now I got the string set. I mean, literally, it happened in 2 days. Got the arrangement, go to Blackbird, and it's kids. And I went with. I never go with the norm. So I got kids because I knew
How old?
they're like, you know, in their early 20s.
Oh, okay, right.
You know?
So not like old season session players or
Yeah,
anything like
because
that, right? I get it, yeah.
sometimes something happens there that it's not my jam, right?
Yeah.
So I get these kids, they're like, you know, whatever, oh my God, Dolly Parton, they're in Blackbird. And so they're all in there, and I bring Dolly. I'm like, you know what, you should go in there. And prior, because she wasn't going to sing with them, she was going to do, you know, in another booth and maybe after. So earlier, I had put a microphone in there just in case, because my dream was that she would sing with them, right? So I take her in there, and I'm kind of egging this on a little bit. I take her in there, and I'm like, Dolly, here's the strings, and tell everybody, and they're all introducing. She's like, oh my God, well, where do you want me to sing? I'm like, well, you know, I have you over there, but it would be great if you were in the room. She's like, well, I can't be in here right now and not sing with them. And I had a camera going, and I'm like, roll. And that version is one take.
Yeah.
That perfect perfect vocal
Yeah.
is one take with Dolly in the room
Yeah.
singing live with
That
the
must
strings.
be beautiful for you too, Lindy.
I cried. I got chills.
Yeah.
Everybody in the studio freaked out. It was like you saw something happen historical.
Listen, I'm happy to be talking to you about this stuff and talk about your production work. I want to get to your songwriting work
Yeah.
a little bit later. But you were the first woman nominated in 15 years at the Grammys for Producer of the Year. The last nominee was a member of a team of producers called The Matrix. I mean, you know this industry inside out, and I feel like I'm asking a bit of a dumb question, but I need to ask it. How can the industry go 15 years without nominating another woman for Producer of the Year?
Well, I believe probably because there's many things you can say. One, a lot of the women that were doing productions, there's a certain amount of, you have to be eligible for a certain amount of songs.
Right. It's a volume thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that. So like say if, I guess at one time like maybe Paula Cole was up or whatever, we'll say that. There wasn't enough material. So she produced her album, it wasn't enough, like you need more. So there could be that because when women produce, they're producing their own stuff. And then there's not enough of like them doing other material. Two, I think that we fall into just the norm, like, when you wear red,
What?
like you wear a red shirt,
Yeah.
all of a sudden you see everybody wearing red,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like that. If you don't wear a red shirt, you don't notice the other red shirts.
Right.
So we have to change the language. We have to change our choices. So I think it was just not an intentional thing, but I think what happened is we just got used to seeing men producers and then choosing the men producers.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
We
Yeah.
just are used to that. And so you just make those choices. When you got this record coming in, you choose that guy because he did all that. So we don't go to the girl producer. I started to get chose because I was just all over the place. I'm a rock star.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So people noticed me because I'm very noticeable. So right now, that's part of what I'm trying to do is change the language. Instead of people asking me, why are there no women producers, I am now saying you're talking to them, so why don't we focus on what it is that I do?
Yeah.
And so I started a show where I have Dolly, Grimes, Sheryl Crow, and
Yeah.
we're all talking about being in the studio. I did one with Alicia Keys, and I'm putting the show together called We Are Now, so people can see that women are all over the place. We just got to change the language.
So I'm excited. We're going to talk more about what you do, exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
We're going to focus on what you do as a producer, as a songwriter. Can you stick around for another little while?
Yeah.
We're going to go to a little break, about a minute or so.
You got it.
I'm having a good time with this. Nice talking
thanks,
to you.
me too.
I'm enjoying myself. All right, so more with Linda Perry. I'm going to change into a red shirt. All that coming up after this on Q.
Into a crisis, times when I'm lying in bed just to get it all out what's in my head. And I am feeling a little peculiar. And so I wake.
You're listening to Q on CBC Radio 1, Sirius XM 169, and from PRI, Public Radio International. My name is Tom Power. That's a little bit of Linda Perry's band, Four Non Blondes, and their massive hit, What's Up? Linda's here with me in studio right now. Linda, I gotta tell you, man,
Yeah.
when you were singing along with that just then in the studio, it tripped me out a little bit. It kind of freaked me out,
Freaked me out too.
When was the last time you sang that song?
When did I actually just recently, I hadn't sung it in a long time, and I went to Grammy on the Hill. And basically what that is I went to Congress, Washington, and sat with Congress and talked to them about, how songwriters are being basically,
Taken advantage of.
fully taken advantage of.
Right. I
And-
jumped in there.
And I, I was trying to be nice.
I know you were. I helped
did
you out.
see
Yeah,
me.
I saw you. Yeah,
I usually swear all the time.
You're being
so
very
I'm
nice
being
this morning.
So good.
Yeah, I know.
But so I went there, and so basically what happened is we had this dinner.
Yeah.
And I got up on stage, and a bunch of Congress people came up on stage,
Mm-hmm.
and Nancy Pelosi's right there,
Mm-hmm.
and had all these congressmen and women on stage singing
Yeah.
"What's Up With Me." So it was a really great moment, and what was really great about it was Republican and Democratic, and they're all fighting together on this one situation. So it's not that doom and gloom over on Capitol Hill. Their music unites completely. So when people say music unites,
It really can.
Does.
Yeah, I like the story of this song because I'm hoping you can tell it, because we were talking earlier about, I said, why has it been 15 years since a woman's been nominated for Producer of the Year? And you said, because I want to talk about what I do. I don't want to talk about why we need more women producers. I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about what I do. I want to frame the discussion as what I as a woman do as a producer, what I as a person do as a producer. And this is a cool story to me. Can you tell the story of What's Up Here? Because someone else produced it originally, right?
Yeah, well, originally the producer, David Tickle, he had a marching drum solo in it. He asked me to change the lyrics because he didn't understand why I was repeating, and I try, oh my God, do I try, whatever, all that. Put a solo in there. And I was, at the end of it, I went into Interscope and I said, I can't stand, this is not the song I wrote. And they're like, can't you just be happy, Linda? It sounds great to us. Can't you just be an artist? And then I was like, actually, no, I can't. And so I grabbed the band. We had one reel of tape. We had no more money, no more budget. They weren't going to give us a dime. Went back to San Francisco and went to the plant and said, hey, can we come in? And can you just give us a day? We have a reel of tape. So we go in there. They give us an engineer. I don't know anything about production, but I know what I don't like. So I sat in there with the engineer, and we started dialing in sounds together. I started moving microphones around until the drums sounded right, acoustics, guitar, everything, and then we just started recording the song. And what was great about it, funny, is because on tape you only have 3 options. So we had to be sure that when we were going to go over a take, that was not going to be the master take. So we were rolling over takes. So then we get our take, do our shit, and then David Tickle walks in at the end of it while we're getting our last take. And then I was so annoyed.
This is the producer.
The producer, I'm like, what are you doing here? But I didn't realize that we had to mix and make mastering the next day. So he came to get there so we could mix the song and make mastering. So basically that's what happened. We worked all night, got the song mixed and done, and it made the mastering date. And then when I asked for production, everybody said, can't you just be happy that you saved the day and that, you're an artist that, wrote the song and saved it.
And became the biggest song in the world for a little while.
And so that version, that was my first production.
Your first production credit.
And that was my version that's all over the world.
Linda, I remember when, so we're going to listen to some of the songs you've written for other artists now. And I remember being in school when some of these songs came out and people saying to me, hey, did you know the girl from Four Non Blondes wrote that song? Did you know that? And it kind of blew our minds. So I think you're about to have that experience right now if you're listening to it. You're not going to have it, Linda. But
you were looking at me
I know,
like I was going to have that
experience. Speaking to the royal we here. Yeah. Take a listen to this. So that's Pink and the song that defined my lonely high school dances, Get This Party Started. And that was written by my friend here, my guest, Linda Perry. Linda, I heard
produced.
Written and produced. I heard a story that whole thing came about with you sort of like getting some new gear and trying to figure out how it worked.
Yeah, I was a total analog snob. And when I moved to Los Angeles, I had this really great studio in San Francisco. It was all analog. And then when I moved to LA, I was like, all right, you know what? What is the sound that's on the radio? So I asked a friend of mine, I'm like, tell me what the sound is. 2000, 2002, something like that, right? And he's like, oh, it's a Triton keyboard, it's a Roland expansion,
Right.
you know, whatever.
You were doing that thing you were telling me about at the beginning. We're going to listen to what's going on right now. What's
Yeah.
going on right
Yeah.
now? Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I get all this gear and I hook it up, and
Yeah.
then I'm just playing with it, you
Yeah.
know, going, oh, this is fun, blah, 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 blah. And like literally 30 minutes later, I have this song, what you just heard. And
The vocals, the hook, and everything.
I grabbed everything. And at the end, after I got the music, and mind you, today you have I didn't have Pro Tools. I was still going to tape.
Right.
So, you know, that loop I played down for 3.5 minutes, whatever. I played bass for 3.5. I mean, everything was just all live that I played
Oh,
it.
cool.
Played all the samples live, you
Yeah.
know. And so then I just grabbed a bullet microphone, which is a harmonica microphone, and I just picked it up, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to think of every, you know, friggin' cliche I can think of.
Yeah. Thanks for saying friggin', by the way.
Thank you.
Very
You're
nice
welcome.
of you.
I know. I'm being very thoughtful
You're very,
today.
very nice to me. I appreciate it.
And so I just thought of every cliche and just started, I'm coming. And I just wrote this song, and I laughed. I played it to my manager on the phone, and she's all, what's that? I'm like, I just wrote a dance hit, you know. And then literally a week later, met Pink.
Yeah.
Alicia, and then played that to her, and she's like, "Oh my god, I love it!" And then her, what's his name? Her
L.A. Reid?
Thank you, L.A. Reid was like, "Well, that's our first single."
Right. Is this surprising to you at all? Because it was kind of surprising to us in school, being like, do you know, like, the Four Non Blondes and the guitars and all. Was it surprising to you that you were writing top 40 pop hits?
No, you know what was interesting? It's so me, because I went into Interscope Records and I told them that I will never write a pop hit for them ever again, so they better just let me go.
Right.
Because I was being held captive.
Right, because
on
What's Up was
Interscope.
kind of, to them, a pop hit,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
but I was being held captive. They just wanted me to do that over and over, and I said I wasn't going to do that. So either I was going to commit suicide and it was going to be their fault, and I was going to leave a letter saying that it was their fault, or they can let me go, you know. But even if What's Up Part 2 was in my pocket, I would never give it to them. So finally, they let me go. And then it was so funny that the first thing I started doing was write pop.
Can we listen to another one of the big pop hits? Take a listen to this.
I am beautiful, no matter what they say. Words can't bring me down. I am beautiful in every single way. Yes, words can't bring me down. Oh, no. So don't you bring me down today.
That is Christina Aguilera and Beautiful. Linda Perry, who, again, wrote that song with Christina. She wrote that song for Christina Aguilera. Is in studio with me right now. I'm just looking at the piano because I sat down yesterday at the piano trying to work it out.
Oh.
It's I couldn't quite get there.
That's super easy.
Really? Want to play it?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll go play it for you. It goes like this. Let's see. Where's my pedal? Every day is so wonderful, and suddenly it's hard to breathe. Do you want the short version?
Yeah.
Now and then I get insecure from all the pain. I'm so ashamed, 'cause I am beautiful no matter no matter what they say. Words can't bring me down. Oh no. Now shorten it. So don't you bring me down today.
Oh, Linda Perry singing the song she wrote. What's wrong with me? The song she wrote, Christina Aguilera's Beautiful. I got a couple questions for you, and
Yeah.
I know you got to move on, but can you tell me a little story about writing that song?
Well, I wrote that song thinking that, you know, I would go back to being an artist, because I kind of disappeared.
Thanks for doing that, by the way. That's
you're
the coolest
welcome.
thing. Yeah.
I rarely do that. I don't really perform, but you're welcome.
Yeah,
I like you, so
God love
I
you.
did
Thank
something
you. I like you
special
too.
for you.
Thank you.
So I was thinking, you know, all right, I'll go do that again, and so I wrote the song, and when I write, everything comes together, the melody, the lyrics, and so I got to that chorus, and it was like, I am beautiful, no matter what, and then I stopped dead, like I don't think I'm beautiful, like. It had a very crazy emotional effect on me. And then I realized, I don't think I'm beautiful. I'm trying to tell myself that. And I need to realize that people can't make me feel bad for, what I look like.
Yeah,
or,
words
whatever.
can't bring me down.
Exactly. So that's where it kind of came from. So it was going to be my song that was going to be my hit. And then Christina... I played it to her because she wanted me to break the ice. I played her the song, and then she's like, I want that song. And I was like, and then I said, I'll tell you what, let me hear you sing it because you are beautiful. There's no way you relate to the song. And then when I heard her sing it, she literally at the top of the song was to her friend, she's like, don't look at me. And I knew I was going to keep that at the top of the song, which I did. And I knew she felt as vulnerable and insecure as I did. And it made sense.
Linda, I got to tell you, like talking to you today, I mean, we talked a lot about how the music industry is I'm trying to figure out how to do this without cursing now too, but is in some trouble, and I know that like compared to when What's Up came out, I mean, I was reading about you yesterday and I saw a sentence that I never see anymore, which is that, the What's Up by Four Non Blondes, the success of that single catapulted the album into X amount of sales, and I was like, well, that's just never going to happen again. A single's never going to sell an album ever again.
I believe in the album. I own a vinyl pressing plant.
Yeah.
So I actually press vinyl. I believe in the power of the album. I do believe it's coming back, and I wanted to make one little statement. It's like the way I write. Like if you notice that I don't have a bunch of songs coming out all the time.
Yeah.
I just do what I do. But lately, my phone has been ringing off the hook.
Yeah.
And I know that means something because I said I'm not going to write what people want.
Yeah.
When people want songs again, they'll call me. And lately, everybody's been calling me.
I think that means you might be a little hopeful.
Yeah.
Is that the case? Are you? I mean, like
I'm super hopeful. Yeah. I mean, I am. I love music. I love the industry. As crazy as I saved another word. As crazy as it is, and how negative it can be, I find it very thriving always because there's so much you can do. There's so many ways to step in and make a difference.
But not just the music industry, like music.
Yeah.
Like you're hopeful about music.
I am. I'm hopeful about what I'm doing. I'm hopeful about what we're talking about. I'm hopeful about a lot of my friends. I'm hopeful in what I'm seeing in kids right now. I'm hopeful in just the energy of the world, as crazy as that is. It feels very right on, very spot on right now where we are.
I really appreciate you taking so much time and talking to me today.
Of course.
I really love this. Thanks a lot for coming in.
Hey, this is a good guy, everybody. I know you can't see him, but he's kind of cute. He's very sincere, and I get why you're popular.
Oh, God love you. Yeah. My high school class just rolled their eyes. Thanks a lot. The great Linda Perry joined me in studio.